Hey everyone, Kevin here with an early morning update for you on the next round of stimulus and everything related to the stimulus packages. It is May 19th, it's 7 a.m. California time, so let's get right into it. Jerome Powell and Secretary of the Treasury Steve Mnuchin testify before Congress virtually, starting in about 3 minutes. This is actually a really big deal. It's probably going to be a few hours of testimony, but think about this. Yesterday, the Senate did nothing. Remember the House bill that passed last week and it's sort of on the desk of the Senate now? Nothing happened yesterday. Well, they did nominate one judge because a judge had retired, but that's it. That's all their itinerary said that they did yesterday. So I think a lot of Congress is waiting and doing that wait and see for what Jerome Powell and Steve Mnuchin say to us. And us being Congress. Remember, Jerome Powell went on an interview with 60 Minutes. He's had multiple speeches and press releases about how Congress needs to do more, how the fiscal authorities, aka Congress, needs to stimulate the economy, and we need more stimulus checks to help the people getting hurt the most. That is generally the consumers. Well, today is going to be a few hours of Jerome Powell's opportunity, along with Treasury of the Secretary of the Treasury, Steve Mnuchin's opportunity to beat up Congress and say, yo, let's see those stimulus checks. So let's see what happens. I think it's going to be a little bit of a seesaw, though, because remember, Steve Mnuchin is part of Trump's cabinet, and so he's going to want to paint a rosy picture. Jerome Powell is an economist looking at, oh crap, this could be bad. So let's continue on here. We had quite a few tweets from Mark Cuban that I wanted to just quickly touch on. We had seen this come up last week, and I covered it as soon as it came up with Mark Cuban's idea to issue debit cards to everybody. And basically, you're required to spend $1,000 every 2 weeks. And that would sort of be a trickle-up stimulus, he calls it. I'm going to put some of those tweets up on screen here. Alrighty, so I copy and pasted Mark Cuban's tweets over here, and he says it's time to face the fact that the PPP didn't work. Great plan, difficult execution. That's a big slam, but I think it echoes a lot of frustration that business owners are having with the PPP. This is not to say that you should not apply for it. I think it could be a great opportunity if you're business, and the forgiveness application is out, so you can, I'll link the forgiveness application down below so it's nice and easy for you. But then he goes on to say, hey, look, it's time for trickle-up economics, basically supporting the individuals and the populations at risk. He's really echoing what Fed Chairman Jerome Powell says. And he also says, hey, look, 128 million households could get a $1,000 check every 2 weeks, and they have to spend it every 10 days, which obviously I think a lot of us are gonna, go shopping for, Target grocery deliveries and maybe Whole Foods deliveries, although those can be a little expensive. And I think the rest is going to Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft for a nice Xbox. I mean, it's kind of boring to be stuck at home, so I get it. We got essentials, and then we'd want to spend some money on whatever we can do to stay sane. So, this is Mark Cuban's idea. Whether or not something like that would ever get picked up, I don't know. I think this is really just a protest by Mark Cuban. Of course, you do have super far left, if I can say that, Democrats retweeting Mark, and that's not a surprise. But the odds of that happening, I think, relatively low. I think much greater odds of us seeing this next round of $1,200 stimulus checks. Although we'll see. I really think today is going to be an impactful day, depending on the Q&A. The Q&A we see is going to be big, so stay tuned for updates on that. By the way, if you get stressed out by drama, whether it's on YouTube or in your life, make sure you get life insurance, because at least for me, I guess it didn't really make the drama go away, but at least I had life insurance. So check out the link down below. It'll take you like 4 minutes to sign up. And of course, while you're down there, get your 2 free stocks with Webull. And remember, the way that works is if you deposit $100 with the stock trading platform Webull, you can not only buy yourself some high-yield dividend stocks like AT&T, but you can also get yourself 2 free stocks worth up to $1,400. In other news, the House of Representatives did not conduct any business yesterday either, and there have been a lot of questions about the Democrats' bill, which I've covered before. I'm just going to quickly make a note on it because it seems to be a big headliner that illegals are, quote unquote, illegals are getting these stimulus checks. And I just want to make it very clear, we've covered this last week, I think multiple times, but remember, in order to qualify for the stimulus check in this Democrat proposal, which I wouldn't be surprised if this gets lined out, but you'd actually have to meet an IRS presence test to be considered a resident for purposes of this next round of stimulus, which means you have to be here for a certain amount of days over the last 3 years. It's a little bit of a complicated test. And you would have to have an EIDL number, which means you would have the capacity to pay taxes. So yes, that does mean there are a group of people who are undocumented, but do have an EIDL number who would be able to receive the next round of stimulus. In other news, the IRS has actually added apparently 3,500 staff members to help answer phones about the economic impact payments. I'm kind of tempted to call and go, yo, what's up with this Treasury announced plan to issue debit cards in Austin and Andover? Is this a pilot program for future stimulus checks? Or is this a pilot program for like tax refunds and trying to get away from paper checks, more protections here? What's happening here? In other news, housing starts in the real estate world, my world, declined 30.2% in April versus 26% expected, so a larger decline than expected. This is not a surprise at all. Remember that home builders will generally invest substantial sums of money, and they will only do that if there's certainty that the market is sort of on the up and up. I would expect that number to be a lot better this month since there's a lot more comfort in the market, but golly, I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all. I think that's sort of lagging data and doesn't really mean much. In other news, Donald Trump is feuding again with China. He's also feuding with the World Health Organization. Both of these things are going to be things to pay attention to. Be careful if you're going to invest in unpopular cryptocurrencies. That is, if you're investing in anything other than, I mean, I would probably say some of like the top 1 to maybe 3 cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum. I'm not too comfortable. Remember, you want to make sure whatever you invest in is relatively liquid and that you're fully aware of exactly what you're investing in. You don't want to go into something clueless about what it is you're investing in. Then this was very interesting, and I think this has a bit of an impact potentially on, the debate we might see in Congress about future stimulus checks. Found out that Bloomberg just reported that some people are actually testing positive for COVID-19, but they had already been infected about 82 days prior. And all of them had the antibodies, so they weren't getting sick again. But people were actually essentially shedding dead virus cells, skewing some of the testing. But that's actually really good news for us as a society because it means the odds of maybe getting reinfected are now lower, at least within 82 days. And obviously everybody's hoping that, if you have it once, you don't have it again for at least hopefully years until a vaccine is out. Obviously that remains to be seen. But in terms of actual, what is that going to mean for stimulus? Again, any of this positive health news tends to weigh down the urgency for additional stimulus, even though we all know additional stimulus is extremely urgent. And folks, if you are bored at home and you want to change your life, the way you look at money, you want to learn how to invest in something new like real estate, make sure to check out my real estate investing program or my course on the psychology of money and stocks. I'd love to see you there. I go live every morning at 9 a.m. with course members answering their questions. Use that coupon code down below. There's a bundle code when you check out. And folks, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.